Hello and welcome to the SHP Project video show weekly. Oh, fingers crossed it will be weekly. So during this show, I talk about my own mental health, my own experiences, how I've learnt to live with depression, and the methods that I've used and the experiences that I've gone through. Just to give you a bit about me, my experience. I am a speaker. I'm a performer. I do lots of acting. I've struggled with confidence. I've struggled with self-esteem, and I've severely struggled with depression. I used to self-harm, and I used to have thoughts of suicide. The thing is, I'm very aware that you don't get over it. We don't really have a cure for that. Yes, you can take tablets and things. You can, whatever therapies that there are. I've tried all these therapies. The thing that really worked for me was meditation and understanding more about my emotions and finding a balance with myself. I didn't take well to medication, so I'm not a supporter of medication, but that doesn't mean to say that it doesn't work for some people. I'm not here to diss any therapies at all that people go through, because each one of us is unique and individual, and we need to find the one that fits for us. What I don't like about medication is how freely and easily it is handed out, and I think that needs to change. But our struggling doctors and nurses and everybody else in the healthcare system have a limited amount of time with each person. So what's the answer? It's the pills, isn't it? Because you'll want to help that person, of course you do, from committing suicide or from harming themselves, which is an indicator of suicidal thoughts. So anyway, I am me. I am me. I am a performer, and I've written books about this subject. I've written plays. I've got blogs online about it all. And I've written a course which is available online as well, which can be purchased. And this uses films to talk about each emotion. And by the end of the course, the person taking it should reach a stage of a mindset reset, a sort of emotional rebalance. And I'm trying to give the message that it is possible to live with this darkness, because it's about finding balance in yourself. We need the balance of the dark and the light. It's Darth Vader, man. It's the dark and the light. It's Yoda, Darth Vader. And maybe Star Wars references don't mean anything to you, but I'm a movie fan, so I'm going to be talking about that. Now, this week on the SHP Project video show, I'm going to be talking about fear, specifically the fear of being alone. Now, when I was a little lad, I sounded like Terry Wogan then. When I was a little lad, I liked my own company. I really enjoyed going to my bedroom. Oh dear, that doesn't sound very good, does it? No, stop that. I really enjoyed being on my own in my room. And because I created worlds, I suppose, this is why films mean a lot to me, because I grew up watching Star Wars. It was a big influence on me. And then, of course, Indiana Jones followed. And it sort of built from there. We had Ghostbusters, we had Gremlins, Spielberg films, a huge influence on me, and then George Lucas, and through them you sort of start watching Coppola, you start watching Scorsese, and the whole brat pack of Hollywood sort of opens up. And within that you've got the National Lampoon's films, you've got the comedies of the 80s, and then that sort of moves into the comedies of the 90s with Jim Carrey. So the SNL was also a huge influence. And I really liked, I don't know why I'm pointing my harmonica, I really liked watching and playing, reenacting the scenes from things like Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Now, one thing I just want to mention here, Kenner Productions of said action figures, if you're listening, why did we not have Indiana Jones figures in the UK? I couldn't find them. I've seen them online. It's not fair. Anyway, I digress, my friends. I had a lot of Star Wars figures, and on cereal packets you could get the backdrops. So I used to cut those out, and you could get E.T., you could get Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, all that sort of thing. I used to cut them out and lay scenes out. And then my dad, my good old dad, he was very skilled, and he with woodwork and stuff, he created play sets for me. So I had Hoth, which was made out of polystyrene. If anyone knows what Hoth is, it's an ice planet made out of polystyrene, and he painted a backdrop so it looked like the snow. We had Dagobah, which is Yoda's planet. Well, it's not really, it's where he ends up in the great scheme of things, which is all jungle, and the ship lands in it, and he created that as well. And then he started creating Cloud City with the orange steps and the big window that Luke falls through, and I had that sort of stuff made out of wood, and it was fantastic. So I used to play with all this sort of stuff and immerse myself into my imagination, and I really loved that. I loved creating stories. My friend and I, we used to create stories on cassette. We used to create posters of these stories as if they were films about to be released, coming soon, all that sort of thing. We used to draw pictures of us as producers as if it was behind the scenes shots of us creating these stories. And it was fun. It was fun being in that world, to go play in the woods and just pretend all the time. And I loved all of that. But then, of course, reality comes in, doesn't it? Because you get older. And as you get older, then all these expectations are put on you. They're fed on into you through school and through life. And then you're meant to be somebody. And that's where I started to struggle, because I didn't know who I wanted to be. I got a job in a theatre, which was amazing, because again, it's creation, isn't it? It's living in another world. It was a glorious sunshiny day outside for the population, and for me it was darkness. We had all the curtains shut, and you've got the lights on, and you're doing all that. You don't know what's going on outside. You are immersed in your own world, and I loved that. But then I came out of that because I started to think that maybe I need to get a proper job, and I did get a proper job, and that then started to realise that I didn't fit into this whole idea of well, I guess it's society, isn't it? I guess it's that. I guess that's what it is, man. So I have a specific memory I just want to share with you about how powerful it was in my own world. I remember my mum, and I loved my parents very much, and this is why I find my depression slightly strange, because there was no trauma in my childhood, but I remember I got told off, and then I was forced to stay in the living room as punishment and talk to the rest of the family, because my mother said to me, I'm not sending you to your bedroom for being naughty, because I know that's where you prefer going. So I had to stay in the company of everybody else. Now let's flash forward in a what do they call it, segue, and let's put that over there. It looks good over there. And depression hit. And it was when the depression hit that I started to fear my own company. Now, my depression, and I'll touch on this in other episodes because it will go elsewhere. It could be down to my mum died when I was 27, and it could be that down to that. But I don't think that was the cause of my depression. I don't think it helped, obviously. And I think it pushed me further down into the rabbit hole. But I do remember a time as a teenager. I remember feeling out of touch with lots of things anyway, as a child, and at school feeling out of touch with lots of things. I had some friends, and they were very close friends, but I didn't really share much of what was going on inside me. I felt the weight of the world as I was getting older in my teenage years. I saw the sadness, I saw the despair, and I didn't want to see that. It was like I was listening, I could hear it, I could see it in people's eyes. And it scared me. And I think, as I was getting older, I started to feel that grief. And then I went down this rabbit hole of depression. And once it started, it was very, very hard to get back out, and it's lasted years. I am only now in my 490th year coming out of this. It's almost like I was stuck in a what do they call that? Like a basin. I slid down, and probably coinciding with my mum's death, and then just spent a lot of time in that bottomless, empty state. And the reason I want to talk about the fear of being alone is because of the contrast to how I used to be. So when I was in that state, and it was very bad. I had to be looked after. I had to be off work. I was on medication, and I created, because let me just get one thing straight. How I feel about depression. Depression is like a monster, or monster's too cliched, but it's like something. It creates a reality for you, an alternate reality for you that isn't real. It isn't true. It starts to talk to you about that people are saying things about you that they're not saying. That things are happening that are not happening, and you don't know. It's so powerful that you don't know what to believe. And you not only do you not trust other people, you don't trust yourself. And that's the hardest thing. And you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person staring back at you. I remember looking in the mirror and seeing a monster. I saw the glare of a very angry and very strong something. It wasn't a person. It was a something. Anyway, the contrast that I'm trying to get to with the fear of being alone is that I remember I lived with my partner, and at that time I had 2 children. I'd split up from my wife, lived in a apartment in town with my partner. We lived on our own. Her children were older and lived elsewhere. One was at university, and she had to go to see her daughter in university, and I had to spend 3 days, I think it was, on my own. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine, I'll be okay. And I thought I would be. But this is when the raging depression inside starts to create these stories, because it was at that stage that I started to go down a road that I had invented the people in my life. So it started with my lovely partner. I was sitting on my own in this place, and suddenly a thought occurred to me. What is real? Is all this an illusion? And if all this is an illusion, which is a philosophical argument, and having studied philosophy, I understood the rabbit hole I was going down, but depression took hold of it. What if all this was an illusion? What is real? And if I can't confirm that this is real, then that would mean that everybody in my life is a creation of my imagination. And then it was like depression opened a door. Here's Johnny. I got that one. Let me take that one for you. And it created this scenario in my head that everybody in my life was an invention. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. I mean my partner who I lived with. I mean her family. I mean my 2 children that I didn't live with, but I saw once a week. I started to believe that I'd made them up. And that, when it starts spinning around for people like me, for people like us who are sensitive, highly sensitive people diagnosed as that, people who have bipolar diagnosed with that, people with depression, anxiety, all of that. Once that story starts swirling around in your head, it's very difficult to switch it off. It's like having some voice constantly reminding you that none of this is real, no one's real, you're on your own, and you can't trust anybody, you can't trust this. I couldn't even trust my own memories. I couldn't trust my memories. I was trying to fight back by saying, well, you know, there's a cup on the thing over there. That would indicate that she had a cup of tea before she left. But you could have had that cup of tea. You could have had that cup of tea. And then you just pretend it was somebody else who had that cup of tea. It reached a stage, and this is the problem. It reached a stage, this lasted for months. And the seed is still there, I would hasten to add. Hasten to add. The seed is still there. If it's strong enough, it still happens. Because I've opened that little crack in the door, I've opened it up to that question. And sometimes it's strong enough, the message is strong enough to question that. And it got so bad that when my children used to stay with us once a week, as I've said, I had to leave evidence around to remind me that what happened actually happened. I would take photographs of them on my phone, of them sitting in bed, or us eating dinner or something like that. So I had date and time evidence. I asked them to write in a book, and then what I did was I gave them the book. I said, just write a little message for Dad. You don't have to write anything profound. I mean, they were only 9 and 5, I think, at the time. Just write a little message, saying how much you like being here, whatever. And in order to prove to myself that it wasn't me that wrote it, I left the room until they were finished. So I knew I couldn't influence that, and it wasn't me that put those words on that bit of paper. I used to leave their pajamas lying around for days on end to prove that they were doing that, their bed unmade, and it was very bad. It was very bad. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my memories. I didn't trust what was going on around me. I didn't trust myself primarily because when I was on my own, at times, I would self-harm, and I would have those thoughts of wanting to end things, and that starts you down a road of not trusting yourself. I couldn't trust myself to look after myself, and that's where it starts. That's where you have to start. You have to, in order to combat this depression, in order to beat this, you have to start loving who you are. So how do we do that? How do we get there? Well, one tip I will recommend is meditation. Okay, start with some meditation. Now, I will give you what I started to do. I'm a film fan, as I've explained. Spielberg, Lucas, all that sort of stuff. I started watching some of the old films, and I started reconnecting to who I was before all of this happened. And I started to enjoy myself again, looking at those memories, thinking about how creative I used to be, and how much fun I used to find in things, and find love in things. And I watched E.T. and E.T. is a beautiful film, full of emotion. And I saw it again as a reconnection to my childhood. And E.T. is the love. And what does he say at the end? I'll be right here. And that's it. I'm in here. I was in here. I knew I was in here somewhere. So I'd been usurped by some strange entity, but my spirit, my soul, my love, my heart was still in here. But I was becoming a very angry and unpredictable character. So I made a pact. I did some meditation, and I made a pact with my depression. And the pact was this: let's try using love. Let's try using tenderness and happiness to get us to where we want. Both of us, in my head, my darkness and light, both of us want to be successful, to be abundant, to be wealthy, to be healthy, and to enjoy our lives. But depression, the raging sea, was pushing everybody away. So I decided to channel my inner ET and choose love. And through that sort of meditative cycle, and I used to listen to the soundtrack. A good way of meditating for anyone who feels they haven't got time, try this, and this worked for me. I would have a film soundtrack. I used a film soundtrack. I've used E.T., The Empire Strikes Back. I've used Raiders of the Lost Ark, Back to the Future. Films that I connect with. You choose films you connect with. It doesn't have to be anything that I'm using, but something with a score, a film score would be good rather than lyrics. And just shut your eyes and listen to one of the tracks, and don't think about all the shit going on in your life. Just think about, start by imagining the film playing in your head, that particular scene, or just concentrate on your breathing. Concentrate on the whiteness as you close your eyes, the darkness as you close your eyes, the emptiness as you close your eyes. Concentrate on the beautiful, you might see colours as the sun hits your eyes. And just let everything go. And it's easy said, but the more you do it, it's easy done too. And that's what I started to do. And then at times when I felt low, and I have those low moments, I watch a film. I watch an old film. I know what's going to happen. I know the characters. I know the end. There's no surprises. I just enjoy the ride. Reconnect with people that I used to know way back when I was this sort of innocent dreamer. Because I like being an innocent dreamer. That's what life should be about. Picasso said that every child is born an artist. It's just remembering to be an artist when they grow up. We're all dreamers. We're all filled with imagination. But we lose it. And that's what I feel we can connect to in order to help with our depression and low moments. It doesn't have to be depression. So where am I now? Well, now the last few weeks, happy to say, let's play some bongos while I'm doing this. I'm happy to say I've spent some time on my own. My partner had to go to Edinburgh, and I had a week on my own, and I enjoyed my own company. I watched old films. I enjoyed doing stuff. Just enjoyed stuff, just sitting, just listening to music, just whatever. I had COVID. Yeah, who hasn't? Yeah, I know. So everyone's got the badge. And during that time, I was on my own. So my partner was with her mother, so she didn't catch it. And I had it. I did feel ill, but I was on my own. And again, I just chilled. I rested. I took the opportunity to rest. Took the opportunity to watch some films. I got into Cowboy Bebop. Now that's good. That's good for philosophy too. And you see, the arts can help us in our emotions, can guide us through our emotions, can make us feel better, can also make us feel sad, can make us feel cross, can make us feel frustrated. But the arts are there about emotions. And I would say to you, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious, just stick on a bit of music that you like, or from a film that you like. You can get it all now, most of it online. And be kind to yourself. Come from a place of love. That is where the sunshine is. So I think I've rambled on enough for this episode. The fear of being alone. I hope that helps you. And be sure to, if you've got any comments, leave them here. Subscribe to me and to this channel. There's all sorts of other stuff on my channel. I do poems. I do other videos. I do some wacky videos because I believe that madness isn't a bad thing. So when madness strikes, and sometimes it will when I'm doing these videos, sometimes madness will hit me. Hey, I don't care, because it's about personality. It's about unleashing that. And this one's a little bit there, but this is number one of few. So I will say sayonara now.